name is Luiz Duarte. I'm working with DIRECTV, the Latin American division, and we're responsible for all the research over there, including the audience research. And the idea of the panel was really to look at how the issues of audience research are being dealt with in different parts of the world. So we had a representative from Germany, from England, and a colleague from Nielsen locally, but has been working a lot with doing similar processes in Africa. So you have us, DIRECTV, representing Latin America, and you have different perspectives on different parts of the world.
What were both region to region, and then also differences between outside the U.S. and the U.S.?
Well, the one common thing was that everybody is having similar issues to deal with. There's the fact that the media landscape is more complex, and you have so many other things to worry about than you had in years past. And how do you adapt the processes and systems to really capture this new complexity? Now, in Europe, media companies being a lot state-owned or have a relationship with the governments definitely have a different perspective, in the sense that they're not as much worried about audience in terms of ways to justify advertising expenditures. They're more concerned about audiences in terms of, are we fulfilling our commitment to the local population.
And just to clarify, you're talking specifically the other panelists who are BBC and
exactly.
Who was the Germany? ZDF? Or?
Right,
okay.
ZDF.
So the public broadcasters of record in the UK and Germany
right.
versus DIRECTV, which is obviously
right, which is a different approach to the same topic. And of course, when you have the colleague from Nielsen, the idea is to really look at how to measure the situation in Africa, where people wouldn't have the same capacity to do the same thing. You probably rely more on cellular technology and other ways of capturing that same data. What DIRECTV is doing is taking advantage of its size and really looking to get set-top box data. So we get one of the largest set-top box data available today. DIRECTV is the largest television operator in the world today. So when you count the millions of subscribers in the U.S. that are already feeding the DIRECTV system, that a lot of companies have been presenting data and analysis on top of that. But that is mostly managed by a relationship with Kantar in the U.S. In Latin America, we didn't establish the same relationship. We ended up doing a lot of those things on our own, and with very little resources, we ended up trying to reach some of the similar results. So I have one engineer. There's a lot more engineers on the DIRECTV US side, but we have managed to do something that was a pioneering service. It was the first return path data in Latin America, and at the time it was probably one of the first anywhere. Back in 1999 when we started doing this. So I had to convince people at the time that this was a good deal, and that we would be doing something new and that was valuable for the company, because we could analyze then what are the channels that people want to watch and negotiate with the programmers based on that. More recently, we have also used that to negotiate advertising on our channels. So the value of that internally proved to be enough to justify the very little investment that we made in getting that technology. But nowadays, things are going much faster, and I think the need for that was very clear for everyone in the panel, that regardless of how you do it, you need to account for that new complexity, and whatever way you can get this data, it will justify going after it.
So I'm assuming with a company like DIRECTV, the holy grail is kind of targeted advertising to the household TV, where you can map your set-top box data with, you know, grocery store chain data or credit card data to the household level, to kind of extrapolate, you know, who's actually in that house and what their interests are,
Absolutely.
whether it's pets or babies or whatnot. So where are we in that holy grail quest?
Yeah, that's the ultimate you know, goal. In the U.S., the targeted advertising is a technology that you know, has been developed. DIRECTV has made the initial tests, and it will be, you know, something that is truly a reality in the next you know, year or so, and it will definitely change you know, some of the way we do things. But in Latin America, we have to build it. So everything that you know, we see here and discussed during the conference as something that you can go back to one media provider or a research provider and just get it. We had to build it in Latin America. So we did the first RPD because we didn't have any ratings for our channels. And you know, so we had to do it on our own. Right now, since there is no vendor that can give me, you know, everything else that I want, I am forced to build my own panel. So we are building the first panel with 5,000 subscribers around Latin America that are giving me detailed information on, you know, what kinds of brands they like, their demographics, and everything else that I can ask them. And we plan to merge that with our ratings, and it will, you know, actually be the first single source panel in the region that way.
I mean, everybody, you know, obviously you're DIRECTV's main focus is kind of delivering video content through the television, but what are you doing online, and what kind of research are you doing around online, like emerging business models that you're developing around online video?
Well, we are basically you know, increasing our presence in that. So everything that you see today and the next year or so that DIRECTV is working on for more online presence and delivering videos and you know, not only receiving more content via your web pipe to the household, but also you know, getting you know, that from your set-top box to your computer anywhere you are. So that's something that is already happening in the US, is eventually reaching Latin America, and you know, in that regard, we're trying to be prepared for that and start collecting data on all, you know, those points of contact. You know, do you see it on your computer? Are you streaming your DVR content to yourself? How you interact with that, I think, is the next, you know, step in that process.
But is the business model basically, if you are a DIRECTV subscriber, you will be able to log into a website or a DIRECTV website and consume all the same channels and content that you can through the television?
Well, there are several different ways to go. I don't want to give too much away on the U.S. plans because they're still, you know, to reach the market. But you know, they're the same ones in the U.S. in Latin America. But basically, you already seen HBO and some other channels having the Go experience, where, you know, if you are a subscriber, you can access that content, you know, through a website, and it's all streaming. But the other alternative that is very viable is if you are a subscriber, you can download this on your own DVR. That's how you do it normally. And how do you get your DVR content into your, you know, tablet or your cell phone? That's the next, you know, stage in that portability. We know that you are a subscriber, the content is safe, you are entitled to that because you recorded yourself in your DVR. It's for your own consumption. You're not reselling it. If you have a secure connection to your mobile devices, you should be able to get that.
Give me one difference that you've noticed with all your data that distinguishes one Latin American country from either another specific one, or kind of the rest are similar but one is different in one respect.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, because my point is, you know, Latin America is made up of a bunch of different countries and cultures and different types of people, so it's not a homogenous region. So give me a difference.
That's a good point. A lot of people think it is very much one market, but it's not. Every country is different, and you have you know, interesting cultural differences, especially when you're talking about research. That you know, when you go to Argentina, for example, they tend to be more critical. So everything that you see in the results tend to be more on the extremes. You know, but then you go to the other markets, Colombia, for one, where they tend to you know, be nice to the interviewer, and so you get things closer to the middle because they don't want to be too critical or you know, or anything else. So you have to make adaptations constantly when you're dealing with that region that's very large and it's growing very fast. So everyone wants to go to Latin America, but it's not one market. It's really many different ones. We see that every day.
What U.S.-based brands do you think do the best job across Latin America in terms of their kind of localizing their advertising and getting adoption among consumers to buy their products?
Well, that's one of the big challenges is that, and it was actually a topic of my dissertation. It was actually looking at who are going to be successful going into Latin America. This was back in the mid-90s when all the cable companies and all the programmers started going there, and some of them succeeded, some of them didn't. And the analysis is really that if you adapt and if you become, if you get a local flavor to your message, you have a better chance. So, if you look at the big brands from McDonald's and everybody else, they have done a great, job at, becoming local. They maintain their international, brand that is something to aspire to, but they also have enough adaptation in their offers that becomes something that people recognize and take it as theirs. And in television, the trick was very simple. First, to recognize that Brazil doesn't speak Spanish. That was a big challenge for a lot of programming networks, that they didn't realize there was a difference. Half of the market really doesn't speak Spanish, so you have to create different offers for those circumstances. And second, you have to remember that once in a while, if you put somebody on camera that speaks the local language and that shows a background that is a local scenery, that is enough sometimes to really show we care enough to at least have one person sent to your market and show that we are connected. It's not just repackaging something done for the US or for Europe and sending it out there and just expect everyone will consume it the same way.